I got this dog from the Sinello estate. It was made in Paris about 1890. He's on wheels. He has glass eyes. And then I'm going to set him down for a moment. Listen. Yeah, and you could take him, go across the floor with him. And I got this at Sinello's auction in, I think, 98. They lived over on Caton and William, I think. Or Sherwood and William. And he also made an appearance when I was a guest on Oprah Winfrey when they did a segment on Antiques Roadshow. So he was on there too. He's in good shape. I don't think he was played with much. And in a minute, Juju. This is the number 3 Barbie doll. This is a local doll here. She still has her stand. The Lincoln dolls are in this case here. And like I said, Jesse's picture. Who knows about Joliet and the Raggedy Ann connection? You know, huh? Yeah, the very first Raggedy Ann book was published in Joliet. Chicago, Joliet. Yeah, it was in the other half of the factory with the P.F. Olin Company. Yeah, and these are mine. I bought these in the early 80s at Knudsen auction when I was in junior high, and everybody laughed at me when I wanted these. Like, oh, you want those old dirty dolls? I'm like, yes, I do. And on his tag, he says, I am a Volland doll. My name is Raggedy Andy, made in Joliet. He's from the 1920s. Very hard to find today. All right. My helper here, the other elf, is standing next to a paper mache doll that was dressed for Empress Eugenie. I collect dolls. If you ever go to my house, you're either going to love it or you're going to be really scared. But that's it. It's Eugenie. And this doll dates to about 1860. Here we are, popular gift at Christmas time, 100 and some years ago. Santa Claus and his works, nice children's book. Like I said, if you got time, come up during the intermission, you can quickly look, just don't touch. And then these are kind of neat ornaments. You think they're dolls in boxes, but they're actually ornaments. They have hooks on their back. They're Victorian bisque dolls from Germany, and you would hang them on your tree. So I have Joan of Arc, and then I have Marie Antoinette here and her buddy. Anybody know the Cronin family of Joliet? Okay, this is a really early tumbling toy made in Germany, probably about 1870, and it belonged to the Cronin family of Joliet. These two are German doll houses from the 1890s. And up front, we got some more mid-century modern. And what kind of tree is this?
Feather tree.
Feather tree, yeah. We take goose feathers and dime green. That was your first artificial Christmas tree. Okay, I'll get to the duck. Anybody ever hear of Steiff? Yeah, the first teddy bear, yeah. Well, this is a Steiff duck, his little wheels say Steiff. And in the early 1980s, my mom got a call to go into, my mom was an antique dealer. We got called to go into a house right around the corner from here. It was going to be torn down, and nobody had lived in the house in 50 years, maybe. And this was in 1981, and all the contents were still in there. Right downtown, because we don't think of it now, but we look at downtown, we just see all these buildings, but there were a lot of people who lived downtown. And this duck was in there, and my mom knew I liked Steiff. He's from about 1920, and she gave him to me for Christmas that year. You ever hear of snow babies? Yeah, so we see the newer ones, but they originally were made in Germany, and you could put them on a cake, you could put them by your Christmas tree. I have several right here. Yes, I know you like the duck. Okay, I'm gonna jaunt over here, and then we're gonna get looking at Joliet. My middle son, Murphy, he's playing basketball, so he really wanted to be here. He collects vintage G.I. Joe. We found these, believe it or not, in the garbage a couple years ago outside an estate sale in the cathedral area. And he was so excited to get these. I've got a Christmas 1976 catalog. Many of you that go downtown Chicago as well for Christmas, go to Marshall Fields back in the day. Yeah, this is the Moon Princess, and she was part of their window display in 1978. And in the 70s, right after New Year's, you could go to Marshall Fields and people would line up all night outside to buy the displays. Now the displays are scattered throughout Chicago and in many collections. Next, we're going to have Uncle Mistletoe. You remember Uncle Mistletoe? And Aunt Holly. I've got a Christmas box here from Wolfson's Boston store. Duckers. The Madam Alexander Bride doll also came from the Sinello family. I bet a lot of you had a tree like this. Yeah, brushed aluminum tree. And the little houses here, I got, they came from the Boston store. I got them in a box from there. And then this piece right here, it's lighting up, but it's not moving right now, unfortunately. This is a window display made for Barrett's Hardware, I believe in 1947 or 48. And a friend of mine knows I love all things Barrett's, so he saved it for me all summer. You know, Carl, you know he was nagging. He's like, yeah. Well, I finally came and got it. All right, and then people were kind enough to bring some of their Christmas treasures of Christmas past. Is this the baby? You want to tell us about the baby? No. Tell us about your baby.
Oh, that's Aaron's junior doll. Back when Lucy and Ricky, yes, that's the representative of him, and I got him in 1958.
You saved him all these years. I love it.
Yeah.
Can I hog him? Something in the Can you? Generous person. Thank you. Greg, come up here and sit with Carl. He's waiting for you. Oh, JPD Halloween Parade, 1960. You are an angel. You are the sweetest person. Thank you. Well, you know what little Ricky's gonna say. Oh, you are just too kind. Come on up here, Craig. You can look at my goodies later. We're gonna start the show. Okay, Zach, you ready to go? All right, so here's our first slide. Boston store. I love this photo. If you were here for my talk about the Boston store, the wonderful, wonderful Feldman family let us have these photos of downtown, and it's a downtown that I was born in 1970. I didn't get to see that downtown. You know, I would just hear about it, and seeing a photo like this just makes it come to life. Let's go. Sit down, sweetie. Let's go to the next one. Okay, Christ Episcopal Church. You know, let me get my little shindig here. You know, as I mentioned earlier, our city, or I should have mentioned earlier, our city's nearing 200 years old if you count when we were Joliet, before we changed our name to Joliet. And Christmas has been an important part of our community, whether it was with worship, helping others, and of course, Christmas presents. And our first photo of Christ Episcopal Church in Joliet, I found a mention of a Christmas tree festival during the mid-19th century. Not much is known about what happened at this festival, but there's a mention in the Signal about there being services as well. Going through different newspaper archives for Joliet, Christmas doesn't really get mentioned much until you start looking at the 1850s. So it's kind of like an early festival of trees. Unfortunately, I don't have that building anymore. It was a fabulous church. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so now we're talking about Christmas in our Joliet papers, that time of which we had several, and which leads me to Bannon's plum pudding. The Bannon family is probably the first, or one of the very first Irish families to come to Joliet. And you could get all your ingredients to make Christmas plum pudding there. Let's go to the next one. All right, several Christmas offerings here. Mrs. M.A. Kinney had a business right across from the courthouse where she offered a fine variety of jewelry, including diamonds. J.G. Patterson was taking orders for fruits, vegetables, turkeys, chicken, and anything palatable. Mrs. Savage had good books to bring cheer to the heart, toys and stationery. Creevy's Bakery and Grocery had Christmas cakes, plain and fancy. And this is also the first time we hear mention of Santa Claus being in Joliet. Next, Mrs. Allen's Dolls Fair. Oh, I wish I could go to this. She offered dolls that could walk, talk, wear bustles. You know what bustles are? And that's just to make your butt look bigger. Yes, I don't need that, but apparently those dolls did. And she also offered cardinal red doll stockings and false hair for your dolls. I think she meant wigs, but nobody used that for men, I guess. Let's go to the next one. In 1883, Christmas was at the No Name store. I don't know how they stayed in business. Oh yeah, let's go to No Name. They offered an immense stock of toys, dolls, trunks, gloves, hosiery, tinware, and notions. Okay, next one. All right, this is from our museum collection, and it's the old Ottawa Street ME Church, decked out for Christmas in 1899. Next, I have a set of photos here. They're among my favorites for all the photos in the museum's collection, of which we have many. These photos were taken at the Schreffler home. And just look at this. You can see some type of bicycle, an elephant toy. Maybe that's Markland, that ship on the right. Yeah, aren't those great toys, Craig? Yeah. Let's go to the next one. This is also from the Schreffler family. Santa Claus at the chimney, circa 1900. Next, the Christmas tree, 1898. The tree appears to have some hand-blown German glass ornaments as well as paper die-cut ones. But the real star of this photo, at least in my opinion, is the toy train, possibly by Ives. That's my guess. Okay, next slide. Christmas decor was apparently important in the Schreffler household. They let little Andrew have free reign to make his Christmas house. It looks like he used all the garland and fringe he could find in the house. Then he commandeered a corner in the parlor. It's hard to see, but on the back wall is a linen Santa Claus printed on linen that could be cut out and turned into a stuffed doll. Okay, next. Okay, so Christmas is really catching on. It's not just the German families that are having trees. That was our Protestants, our Irish, everybody living in Joliet at that time. And what better way to make your tree look good than to have some proper lights? Economy Power Light offered miniature colored electric lamps for your tree. Next photo. I believe that was 1890. So that's pretty old. Next one. Okay, I hope you don't think I'm a total nerd, but I leave this Christmas tree up all year long. It's in my breakfast room. Is too much of a hassle to pack up the ornaments, and I feel like they're better preserved being on the tree than in a box that somebody might step on. So this is a feather tree. My late mom, Judy, started collecting antique ornaments in the 1970s, and those are all hers. They're all glass ones. And then I surround it with doll houses made in Germany before 1900. Next. All right, so our businesses were not just advertising in newspapers for Christmas, trying to get you in the door. They were handing out trade cards. You go to my store, I'm just gonna hand you a little present here. This is a trade card from M. Calmer. Calmer had dry goods. And you can see the little angel there at the star, and that was to get you in the door and buy whatever you needed for Christmas. Next. Oh, this is a clipping I found. It was reprinted in the Herald in 1948, but the photo was taken in 1908. And it shows a very elaborate Christmas tree. You can see what are now antiques around it, a little toy horse and wagon. Next. Oh, I like this. So we're getting into the 20s. Now, remember what I said, when we get to the 50s, you wanna go stretch your legs for a couple minutes, get some cookies, have some water, and then we'll get to the 60s. All right, so next. Okay, this is Barrett's at Christmas time in the 1920s. My friend who sold me that window display, he also had this photo and he saved that for me. I bought it last year. And just look at how wonderful Barrett's was. You know, when I went to Barrett's at Christmas time in the 70s, what I remember is going down the basement and them having Fostoria and Franciscan ware, but they also had Sonny and Cher dolls. I wanted those. Mom would not buy them. She's like, ew, they look cute. And I'm like, I want them, it doesn't matter. But I didn't get them. And I didn't get that easy bake oven either, but I digress. Next. Okay, Di Lorenzo's Furniture. I believe this was on Collins Street. And you can get Christmas gifts there, toys of all kinds and children's furniture. Notice a 3-digit phone number. And next, this is from the museum. This is an early issue of the Joliet Spectator. I believe it dates from 1927. It shows children getting ready for Santa. I'm assuming they were good that year. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this is also from the same issue. You know where we're at? Can you guess? I see 2 landmarks there. I see St. Mary Carmelite. I see the steeple, and it looks like Barrett's. And of course, oh, that's Santa, downtown Joliet. All right, and what do these kids want? Let me read what they're asking for. No, he's not asking for G.I. Joe. That's way before his time. Okay, they want sleds, skates, electric trains, tops, marbles, candy, and nuts. Okay, next one. Here's a group of children with Santa at the Steelworks Club. 2,400 children attended this party, and they each got a gift. They spent $1,000 at that time to make sure all of those children got gifts. All right, stay there. Next one. Okay, this is another view of the Steelworks Children's Party. They watched a program in the auditorium. They sang Christmas songs and they got to spend time with Santa. Next. Look at these little kids here. Window shopping at its finest. They're with their very patient mother checking out toys in the window. I suspect it's the Boston store. Next. Husbands in 1927 in Joliet were urged to get their wives Hoover vacuums for Christmas that year. All I know is I got a vacuum one year from my husband. I was not happy. That's why it's never used. Next. This great photo is courtesy of the Remuda family, and this is their home in the late 1920s. We've got a dollhouse, a wicker doll buggy, composition baby doll. So wonderful. And most important, we got family. We got mom and dad and the children. And toy piano. Next. Here's a Joliet business that's been around forever and it's still around. Palmer Florist. You can get beautiful poinsettias here. You can get them in the 1920s. You can get them today. Next. Okay, we all talk about Dan's Candy, but did you know we had many little places making candy back in the day? They weren't the only game in town. I know some of you had to go to the sweet shop, right? You remember sweet shop, yeah. But besides Dan's and the sweet shop, we also had Joy Homemade Candies on North Chicago Street. And they offered to mail their candy anywhere. Yeah, I want that candy too. Yum, yum. Next. Okay, this is pretty cool. Does anybody remember the Lux family? John Lux, he worked at the Herald and he ran the Herald. His father worked at the Herald. And this is an interview he did with Santa Claus. All right, let's go to the next page. It's from 1933, and it was right in the middle of the Great Depression, which was very hard everywhere, but was really hard in Joliet. Santa told Mr. Lux that he never pays attention to business conditions, that his business is based on a desire to serve rather than a desire to pile up profits. He also noted that at Christmas time, people tend to forget our own selfish interests and focus on the happiness of others. And there it is, it's signed. And this is part of our museum collection too. Next. This is from Virginia Gale. She sent me this great photo. Virginia, are you here? Hey, Virginia, thank you for all your photos. And this is a 1930s nativity set from her family. You still have it, right? Yeah, that's special. All right, next. Oh, this is the place I heard about from my mom. Like one of her top favorites was Duckers, and she said it had everything. She loved Duckers. And look at this. This is 1930s. Everybody there? I know that it's Christmas based on the clothes, but I had to include it because this is probably the only photo I know of the inside of Duckers. What's up?
That's Paul is Aunt Dorothy in the plaid dress.
You're Aunt Dorothy? Oh, yes. Oh, that's fabulous. I'm gonna write that down on the back. What was her last name?
Sosnowski, Dorothy Sosnowski.
Okay, I'm gonna put that on there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, where's Mike and Christine? Okay, that's Mike Johnson. He's my coworker. So his wife Christine, they're over there, and they know everything about the Joliet prison. You want to know something about the prison? They are your go-to people. They give tours there. They know so much. And this is Mike's dad, Edward Swede Johnson. Mike, do you know what year maybe this is? Yeah, I just put it in the 30s as a guess. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I love it. It's magical. All right, next. We've got a group of letters to Santa from Joliet area children during the Great Depression. Pearl Bitterman wants a box of handkerchiefs, candy, perfume, nuts, and oranges. Ruth Lee Mocker wants a red pencil, a fountain pen, a Patsy Ann doll, and chocolate Santa. James Ellis wants a bicycle, a train, a toolbox, an erector set, an Oompa Loompa, no, some candy. He's got a long list. All right, next. Santa apparently preferred Weber's Dairy. Here he is, pointing to a bottle, claiming to be the aristocrat of milk, and also get your feet down. And also the Best Buy Test logo. Speaking of Weber's, this next photo is from my friend Lisa Mahalik back there. Thank you, Lisa. Look at Weber's. Isn't that great?
Our cousin Mary's father, Dr. Raymond Gannon.
Really? That's a fabulous photo. Love it. All right, next. Okay, here are some children who dance with the McNiff Dancing School. Their instructor had a Christmas party for them. Some of the McNiff family is still in this area, and I'm friends with them. Next. All right, Christmas dinner at the Rialto. Bring your family here for Christmas dinner. Continuous service from 10:30 a.m. till 8 p.m. Turkey and all fowl in season will be served. You know, and after you were done eating, you could head over to the Princess and the Orpheum, which we'll look at next. They had a Christmas party for kids where you could watch Our Gang, Betty Boop, Crazy Cat, and Scrappy. Okay, next. It's a lucky woman that Santa remembers to bring her a Moore Statler range, courtesy of Wester Electric. Husbands could make a small payment with easy monthly terms. Next, here's the Kennedy family home on 3rd Avenue. And that was kind of a new thing then, to decorate the outside of your house. People in Joliet were just getting used to decorating the inside, and here's Mrs. Kennedy kind of ahead of the curve with her gorgeous Tudor home, and you see lots of decor there and a wreath. Next. One of Joliet's more reasonable places to shop was the White Store. You all remember the White Store, huh? Yeah, Santa's in the middle showing off good deals like Lionel and Ives trains, doll buggies, chemistry sets, nuts. Okay, next. All right, now we're driving on into the 1940s. As we ease out of the Great Depression, we're finally getting somewhere, and now we're headed to war right after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Many materials like nylons and various metals were in scarce supply due to those materials being needed for the war effort. And because of that, the toys at this time were often made of wood. And then plastic became the new medium for making dolls. Anybody ever have a Tony doll? That was one of the first hard plastic dolls. Later on, at that table, the Mary Hart line over there, she's made using the Tony doll body, and that Mary Hart line belonged to the Brown family on Mack Street. They had Brown Cadillac, and I've had her forever. Anyway, let's go to our next slide. Let's see what Christmas looked like downtown Joliet during the 1940s. Here's a window at the Boston store with a Christmas tree, jewelry, a floor lamp, no leg lamp. Next one. Duckers was not to be outdone. Here's one of their windows. Next. Here's Sears, Roebuck and Company. They have one of the more festive windows with the multiple images of Santa, a fire pumper, toy drum, and a ski jumping toy. Next, we've got public service window from the 1940s with an automaton. And from the looks of it, I think he's playing an instrument. We're catching a reflection when the reporter took that photo, so I can't quite tell. But you can see him there on the right, and he would have been moving around once you plugged him in. And next, Gold Glass, yeah. And they showed off a toy horse, toy train, and a reindeer. Next, in 1947, you could buy suede cloth hoods. Oh, wait, here we are. Oh, we're at Klein's, sorry. I got ahead of myself. Stay on Klein's. All right, here's Klein's. We see some bells, a lot of goods, maybe some clothes in the back. Okay, next one. Here we are, 1947 Boston store. Suede cloth hoods and polka records. All right, next. The Al Baskin Santa Express has just landed. There's gifts to tickle every fellow's fancy. Yeah, just what a little boy wants at Christmas. Clothes. No. Where are the toys? Next. This is Kay Altanoff with Beverly and Kathleen Jones on the lap of the Boston store Santa. Kay was my mom's best friend when they went to St. John's together. Kay's still around. Let's go to the next one. There's little Carol Montgomery showing off which doll she wants for Santa. She says, I'm taking the baby doll. Forget the bride. I think the bride's worth more money today, but get what you like. That's important. Next. I asked people in my Joliet Memories group on Facebook. It's a group my friend Kathy Spieler and I started where we just post positive Joliet memories, no fighting, no politics, nothing. And anyway, I said, can you send me some of your Christmas photos? And I got this one from the Lundstrom and Langenor families, and they got it colorized. You know, if you get time, and I don't mean to digress too much, but the Joliet Public Library has a new digital media studio. And my friend Jackie will tell you about that, and Bonnie over there. You can get photos repaired for free. They help you. I mean, you know, if you're not computer savvy, they will sit there and help you. They can colorize, they can get out rips, all kinds of stuff. And they probably got that done there. The next one. Here's Klein's Christmas. It's Dickie, Matea, and Kate Wilkie. Next. Everyone seemed to love the Boston store Santa, including this little girl who gave him a kiss. And next. Well, we got a lady shopping at the Boston store. Make her happy on Christmas morning, guys. You better come home with something from the Boston store and not that Hoover vacuum from Barrett's. Next. Okay, a great place to eat out for Christmas in the 1940s was the Hotel Louis Joliet. This is an original menu I own. Let's go to the next one. Now we can look at it and see all those great prices. Yeah, Christmas dinner selections included whitefish, tom turkey, prime rib, ham, duckling, chicken, sirloin, sides of baked potato, string beans, squash, broccoli, and salad. Dessert was, I think, go one more and we'll look at the dessert. There we go. Dessert was pumpkin pie, mincemeat pie, Jello, fruitcake, ice cream, and sliced bananas. And I'm sure they tasted better than any bananas we'd slice. It just looks lovely. Next. Here's another menu for a different year at the Hotel Louis Joliet Christmas time. They offered trout, ham, frog legs, turkey, prime rib, gooseling, filet mignon, and sirloin steak. Next. Earlier I mentioned Palmer House, but another great florist who's still in business in Joliet is LeBeau's. And here's LeBeau's wishing Joliet Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Next. Quote unquote, Joliet's own candy maker, W.J. Scheidt, offered their famous college creams, chocolates, as well as hard candies, as well as some kind of Canadian mountain mist. Not sure what that was. Next, if you didn't eat at the Hotel Louis Joliet, you could also eat at the Woodruff Hotel. Remember the Woodruff Hotel? Sure you do. Yeah, I wish we still had that Woodruff Hotel. Let's see, you could eat in their spacious dining room and listen to live music. Next, here's one of our local letter carriers. He's resting his feet. He's been working hard. Everybody sent Christmas cards then and Christmas letters. He's taking a little break. Okay, next. This photo is from Diane Meade Anderson. It's the Illinois Bell Telephone Operators Christmas Party from the 1940s, complete with Santa. Next, everybody, kids and grown-ups, all in a mad rush to grab a Christmas tree. Yeah, I know in my mom's family, they wouldn't put the tree up till maybe a day or two before Christmas. I don't know if that was just for financial reasons or just tradition, I'm not sure. Yeah, next one. Okay, this is the Junior Study Club tea. You guys all know the Woodruff family. Well, we had two of them. We had two George Woodruff families. And this particular Woodruff family lived at William and Western, and they were descended from the George Woodruff who wrote some of our very first Will County history books. And the house is still there. Let's see who's in the photo. I believe it's Mrs. Barrett, who lived around the corner on Western, Mrs. Lennon, who also lived around the corner on Western, Mrs. Stockwell, and then Mrs. Woodruff. Next, we have the Bonner family Christmas. Okay, next one. Oh, you guys are gonna love these. These are a series done at the Joliet Herald set to Joliet children in the night before Christmas. So we start here with Carol Sue Galvin. Twas the night before Christmas. And there's Carol Sue. And then here are, can we go back? Oh, no, never mind, we're there. The Clemens children of Whitney Avenue. And that's part of the night before Christmas. Next, we have the Green children pretending to be asleep. Next, the Pearson children are like, forget this, I'm getting out, and they're finding Santa. Next, and the Wink children getting out of bed. That one looks like he's not ready to get out of bed. Yeah, he wants to go back to sleep, but Big Brother wants out. All right, next. There's the Lang children. They're listening to Santa on the roof. Next, and the Reichert children are checking the chimney, looking for Santa. Next, we've got the Thomas children seeing Santa. And next, the Ryan children got to see Santa, got their toys, and now they're back in bed. You see the little girl on the right. She's in bed with her doll, her Christmas doll. Okay, next. And this photo, I also got through Joliet Memories from Jackie Shuck. This is Christmas at her family's home in 1949. Next. Okay, these are the Fournier children. They're looking in wonder at their Christmas tree on Oneida Street. Next, we've got Donna Marie Pearson of Willow Avenue saying, I want all of them. That's the caption. And she's sitting in the doll display. She's not just looking at the doll display. Doesn't she look like a little doll herself? She's so cute. All right, next. Lyons Brothers. I bet a lot of you remember Lyons Brothers. They were in business a very, very long time. Lyons Lumber, and they're wishing you holiday cheer and Merry Christmas. Next. Public service. I think they had some of the best windows. We got two automatons there. We got a boy and girl caroling. And this is from the 1940s. Next. And Christmas is for the young at heart. It's for children of all ages. And let me see their names. Mrs. Barbara Klein, and she lived in the St. John's neighborhood, and Mrs. Alpha Wingler are wowed by the window at the Boston store. I believe they're both 85 in the photo. Next. Oh, all right. Gwendolyn Gould and her daddy are on the left. They're looking at Goldblatt's, while Carol Ann Olivio is excited about the Boston store. And Anita Nordstrom likes Santa Land at the Boston store. Next, we got some of my neighbors here, the June family. There's Mr. and Mrs. Ford June and Mr. June's sister, Virginia June, posing for Christmas. Next. Here's one of my other neighbors' relatives. This is the Barber family, and these are the Barber girls reading A Christmas Story. Next, here's some school children from St. Raymond's decorating a tree in the late 1940s. Next, Mrs. Erickson lived on Union Street, and she didn't want the store-bought decoration. She wanted to make her own. And here she is, and she's pretty good at it, too. Next. Oh, wait, there. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's see. The new Ricketts restaurant on Chicago Street was open all day for Christmas. It was said to be a scrumptious feast. Next, a Christmas gift that many ladies would have wanted at that time, and probably some still do, is a set of real sterling silver flatware. I bet some of you, maybe your parents or grandparents might have had a set of sterling flatware. And where else would you get it but Kips? Next, for the kiddies, head over to the Rialto. They offered a giant cartoon carnival with Goofy, Pluto, and Mickey Mouse. And next, Al Baskin, doing everything first class, hosting a Christmas party for his employees and all their children and family members at the Hotel Louis Joliet. And there's Al standing up there, and he's with Mr. and Mrs. Moore and Mr. and Mrs. Murphy. Next, Christmas greetings and Happy New Year from J.J. Cohn, owner of the White Store. He was probably one of the most generous people who ever lived in Joliet, never bragged about what he did. He would host fireworks parties for people, just did a lot of charitable things in town. Next, Okay, Shoppers on Parade. This is from Joliet Spectator. I know you all probably remember Spectator. And we've got Linda Lee Murray here. And she's visiting the Santa at Sears next. The Westerhoff family shops at the Boston store. Next, Mrs. Cartwright looks at a Fisher-Price Donald Duck toy at Fort Hopkins. Anybody remember Fort Hopkins? Yeah. Okay, next, we got Mrs. Felides, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She's looking at wrappings at the dime store. And next, we've got Mrs. Malashi. I hope I pronounced that right too. She's looking happy with her packages. Like, I'm done. Next, Mr. and Mrs. Speckman buy wrapping paper at Stillman's. Remember Stillman's? Yeah. Okay, next. And we've got Mary Edelman of Lockport coming to Joliet to shop at Ducker's. Next. And here's somebody's grandma enjoying the doll display. I'm not sure what store. And next, we've got Mrs. Kelly getting some help picking out some men's clothes. Joe Pleasy is waiting on her. Oh, no, sorry, that's the next one. This is Mrs. Kelly at National Clothing and Jewelry. Okay, next one. Okay, there's Joe Pleasy helping Mrs. McHugh at Litton's. Remember Litton's? Yeah. Okay. And we are on to the fabulous 50s. You all want to stretch for a couple minutes? Yeah, let's do that. Cookies over there, water over there, walk around. Then we're going to hit 60s and 70s. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, we should make you wear like a little outfit. All right, we ready to go to the fabulous 50s? Yeah. All right. So we got brushed aluminum tree here, ornaments, kind of like what we got over here. Next slide. This photo was sent to me by Pat McNellis Schrader. It's her family at Christmas time. Okay, next one. And then comes Santa Claus. He's arriving on a float for the Community Christmas Parade. It was one of 6 floats of Santa entered by the Joliet Association of Commerce. And I really love what you're about to see next. This is from the museum. I did not know these existed till I started working here. These are glass slides, and like I was saying earlier, you can get everything done at the Digital Media Studio at Joliet Public Library. Jackie and Bonnie will tell you that back there. I am frequently going over there, and one of my coworkers, Stephen, said, you know, we've got these great parade photos, Christmas parade photos of downtown Joliet outside the Boston store, and I'm like, we do. So I looked, and the slides, because they're getting old, they weren't in the best of shape, so we took them over to the library and I got them digitized. And we've got a cat here. I don't know if it's Crazy Cat. We got 2 cats. Okay, next one. We've got this most beautiful and gigantic mermaid. Next, kind of got like a pre-Thomas the Tank, although he kind of looks a little, he looks kind of naughty, doesn't he? He's like grinning, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get you. And it looks like next one is going to be our mermaid girl again. And I recognize that as Boston store. So you see the numbers up there, they would put their anniversary number right up above the marquee there. Next one, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yeah, look at the big crowd for Rudolph. Next. Santa, you can't have a Christmas parade without Santa. And next, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty, hopefully didn't have a great fall. Let's go to the next one. And we end these with a giant dragon. And next one, Toyland at the Boston store. Okay, next one. Hickok's Juvenile Shop. This was one of those legendary stories my mom would talk about. Our family never had the money to buy anything there, or her parents did, my grandparents, but she was a frequent window shopper there. And they sold Madame Alexander dolls there in the 1950s. They also apparently sold a real canopy doll bed that she wanted very badly, a dotted Swiss bedspread. You got the canopy bed. Oh, wait, well, let's get you on microphone here. What's your name?
My name's Pat Briskura. My name is Courage. Ever forget me from way back when. But anyway, we used to go by Hickok all the time with a canopy bed was in there. And I would constantly look at it, dream about it. One day I came home, it was not my birthday, it was not Christmas. And we weren't rich, but there was that canopy bed. Because I wanted it, my mother wanted me to have it.
I gotta ask, do you still have the canopy bed?
Oh.
But at least you got it, you know? At least you got, you know, a side note, I remember when Virginia Kelly moved out of Joliet, the dance school teacher, they had, Mrs. Kelly sold my mom the canopy bed that she had for her daughters. And I said, Mom, you finally got it. And I said, why aren't you keeping it? She said, it was just enough to play with it for a little while. Yeah. All right, so Hickok Juvenile Shop. Next one. These are the Maher children of Richmond Street with their Christmas display. I'm seeing a lot of kids that live by Carl and Paul and Paula back there. Got that whole neighborhood. Next one. These are the Bartelt children. They're getting a pre-Christmas preview of the toys at Duckers. Next, we've got the Comerford family. And these children grew up on Rainer Avenue. You know, Comerfords, they've been around this area a long time. And they went to go visit their grandparents on Bridge Street where they read Christmas stories. Next, this was sent to me also. This is Charlene Ebling at the Boston store. Next, I picked up this really cool catalog. I don't know if any of you noticed it up there, but that's Walt's Hobby Shop. It's still in business. It's not downtown anymore, but you can go over Plainfield Road. You can get a toy train. You can go get a model. I bought this last year at Big John's Flea Market. Yeah, I found that. I had to have that. I think it's from 52. Next one. Okay, yeah, this is inside the Walt's Hobby Shop book. Got Ravel's Highway Pioneers. And next. All right, I had trains. There's Diane Policandriotis Smith with Santa. And next. This is Julius Heck and Barbara Murnick, 1953 at Grandma Heck's house. And Carl and I know Grandma Heck's house very well. And so does Jackie back there. Mrs. Heck lived at the corner of Prairie and Oneida, and over the summer I did multiple estate sales for this family. And they still had the nativity set. Wow. They kept that. That was one of the few things they kept. And I just think that's so special that they hung on to it. Next one. This is also from the Heck Mead family. I don't know if any of you knew Jewel Mead. She was active in Will County Historical Society about 50 years ago. And these are some of her relatives. And this is the Holmes family Christmas on South Break Street. And next one. Westmore, later renamed Sunnylon. If any of you know me for like just a little amount of time, you know I am like unnaturally obsessed with this house. Yes, I love my own house, but I love Westmore. You know where Westmore is? Okay, it's on Reed Street where Western Avenue dead ends. It's that big mammoth house, Dr. Ray's house. We call it that today. But when this was built in the late 1890s by a Chicago architect, it was built for the Moore family of Moore Stove. Yeah, and the Moore family had the house until the Great Depression. Ironically, he lost the house, but he was able to hang on to his stove business. Let's go to the next one. And this is the Christmas card when, I'll get to the, why I'm calling it Sunny Lawn in a moment. During the Great Depression, Mr. Moore lost his house, but he still had a very successful business. And it was successful enough that Franklin Delano Roosevelt invited Mr. Moore to come to the White House, along with small business owners from across the country, to say, hey, let's get together. What can we do to get out of the Great Depression? And Mr. Moore went, and he could take one person with. He took my great-grandpa Murphy with, who was head of the Molders Union. And the men at the table there, they went around and just pitched ideas like, what can we do to get out of this? But anyway, as I said, he was able to keep the stove business, but not the house. And the banks ended, one of the banks ended up with the house, and they didn't know anybody else in town who could afford it. And it sat empty for a few years. And one of the bank presidents approached the Fay family and said, you've got enough money, please buy it. And they said, well, we already have a really nice house. And like, well, come to this house. And so they did. And they moved in it. I think it had a lot of the contents still. And they renamed it Sunny Lawn. So they didn't want to call it Westmore because it was theirs now. This is an original Christmas card I got from my cousin Michael, who worked at Champion Machinery, and Michael is a cousin to the Fays. So long story short, he gave me this vintage Christmas card. The inside of it says, help stop the communists and Merry Christmas. And it's from the early 1950s. So that's in my like little Westmore collection. I also have the stove that was made for this house. It has 8 burners in it. I had it moved to my house from Champion Machinery. It's in my kitchen. It's retrofitted. And I cook on it every day, and I love it. And her name is Buttermilk. It has its own name. I don't have a house with a name, but I have a stove with a name. Next. Okay, so we talked about Uncle Mistletoe, the official mascot of Marshall Fields, and his wife, Aunt Holly. You stay put. He had wings, and he was kind of like Santa Claus. And that's Uncle Mistletoe, and he lived at Cloud Cottage. And if you were good, maybe Uncle Mistletoe put in a word with Santa, make sure you got a present from Marshall Fields. But anyway, he was so popular, and he was introduced in the mid-1950s, that I have a sneaking suspicion that maybe Mr. Fellman kind of spinned off of Uncle Mistletoe by introducing Sir Holly. I've never seen that until about 6 months ago. So it must have been short-lived, but it looks exactly like him. I don't have a top hat on this one. Okay, next slide. So we're talking about Uncle Mistletoe and Aunt Holly. This is inside my dining room. As I mentioned earlier, the lady on the left is the Moon Princess. She came out of Marshall Fields State Street window. She was part of a display in 1978. And then at the bottom of her skirt are Aunt Holly and Uncle Mistletoe ornaments. They also made them in glass. In the center is the Uncle Mistletoe cookie jar. I didn't have room to bring that. Craig's got one of those. I know you do. I love it. I've got the puppets and the dolls. It's just fun. Let's go to the next one. How about the Christmas boxes? I bet a lot of you saved your Boston store boxes, your Weebles boxes, Dunkers, whatever. And here's one, Boston store. Next one. I got another Boston store. And these are all from when it was downtown only. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so back to some holiday decorating. This is Christmas on Manor Court. Next one, South May Street. And I bet if you look really hard to the one on the right, I got it cut in half. I didn't take the best picture that day. But that's part of the Honey Otis house. And that's Midland in Glenwood. Okay, next one. All right, Christmas at 5:09 Eastern. do some East Side Christmas here. Next one. More East Side Christmas. We got 510 Washington. And next, I think the address they put, that house number they put on there can't be right. Because even if it were in Crest Hill, the number is way off. But it says 2409 Oakland. Did they renumber Crest Hill? All right, I got next for you who has a house over there.
2400 to 1800, so that they renamed them, that's correct.
Now I know.
Today that would be 1809. Jump from 15 to 20, 1500, I think 16, no, not 16, 15 now, it used to be like 2200 or something like that, it would jump from 50, and they said, hey, this is confusing, so that they made it the way it is today. But that would have been like 2409, that is now 1809.
My friend Craig here is a walking and talking Encyclopedia Britannica. Yes, you are. He can tell you what he was wearing on January 5th, 1979. He would know what day of the week it was. And he knows every phone number. I've never met anybody like him. He's super smart. And now I've embarrassed him.
House on South May Street, that was Sam Trivet.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the next one. Okay, we're getting a Christmas tree sale here, Joliet City Club. Next, the Barrett home. You remember when Barrett's lived in the 900 block of Western? I remember going to their estate auction in 78, I think. I was 8 years old. And Wendell Knudsen had chairs on the lawn. Ladies wore hats and handbags to that auction. And I was the only kid. Boy, did they watch me like a hawk, but not too well, because I wanted to see the inside of the house, and being the brat that I was, I snuck into the house. But there was just the most wonderful antiques they were keeping, and I just had to see them. They had a sofa with a carved eagle going around the bottom. It was probably like 1830, you know, and I just had to see it. And then somebody from the family busted me like, I'm sorry. Look at this. It's a junior Santa. Okay, next one. This photo was sent to me by Sandy Peterson. Sandy, are you here? Yeah, thank you, Sandy. Gorgeous tree. Look at all the tinsel on that. I love it. Next one. Okay, this is Patty Mondrella and her sister at the Boston store. Next one. This was also sent to me. I got this one last year. This is from the Lauer Burns family, enjoying a lavish feast. Yeah, let's go back to Mondrella. Okay, you know Patty?
Well, I know Patty and they're
Okay. Really? See, she gave me this photo last year when I was doing a Christmas talk somewhere else. And I'd gone around on Joliet Memories saying, I need Christmas photos. And she posted that one for me. Yeah, you have to tell her. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Next one. Okay, Lauer Burns. And then we'll go on to the next one. And this one I also got last year through Joliet Memories. This is Gary Corlew and his toy truck 1953. Isn't he precious? I love it. He's great. He helped me a lot with my Hispanic history talk. Next one. This is from Dave Corcoran, and Dave's dad, I believe, worked for the Joliet Fire Department. There's Mary Corcoran with her sons donating toys for tots, 1956. And our next one. There's I also got this sent to me, Anna Ansel and her Christmas tree. Lots of tinsel like Sandy's tree. Next one. This is the Hurley Freitag family. Their photo made the society page for the Herald when they used to do that. Let's go to the next one. And I've got the Hoffman and Mangan children. Those are Joliet names. Playing with their Christmas presents. Next. Louise and Thomas Seffner are all smiles after looking at these great toys at the White Store. Next, Lewis Brothers. Oh, yeah. I know you all love going there. You got your foot x-ray. Yeah. Yeah, and you love those big squeaky floors. Oh, I love the Lewis family. Yeah, Linda's great. And then my mom knew Carol. Anyway, you could get hosiery there for Christmas as you like it. Ooh, how lovely. Just what I wanted. Not that vacuum. To the next one. Patricia Burns Peterson, and looks like her brother, and they're enjoying Christmas. Next one. The Gritton family, they're wrapping up Christmas presents. Next, we've got Jerry Wright, and he can't wait to open those beautiful boxes under the tree. Now, how many of you snooped in here? How many of you were snoopers? Oh, come on, it's more than 2 back there. Yeah, yeah. See, I had it down to an art, and then Mom started wrapping the presents, and I have to work on the tape and then get it back in there. And next one, Guardian Angel Home children are taken to the Boston store where they were treated to presents, and they got to meet Mr. and Mrs. Claus. And next, we've got the McCaig family, and these little guys, they're enjoying their scooter, and we've got a little tricycle here. Next, dear Santa, we are hoping that at our house you will pause for the LaFontaine children. They look like they've been good. It's 3 boys. That's like, I'm a mom of 3 boys as a recipe for disaster. They look like they're being good. The one looks like really intense on the left. Let's go to the next one. This is Virginia. We got another photo from Virginia Gale back there. This is Virginia, is that you when you were little? Oh, how precious. Look at her with her baby doll under the Christmas tree. Next one. And it's Virginia again on the steps for Christmas. Wow, look at those steps. All the presents going on this. I love it. Next, here's Gail and Sheila Pominari. Next one. I like the caption for this. It took Mrs. John Clark of Franklin Street 34 years to collect all the items for her Christmas display back then. Can't imagine how old these things are now. The display was admired by her neighbors, Darlene and Judy Clausen. Next one. Gold glass. I know my grandma's favorite. We got a bouncing horse here. Bouncing Palomino, Velocipede, and Tin Dollhouse. And next, look at Chicago Street, all lit up for Christmas. Isn't it beautiful? You can see the Rialto on the right. Okay, time now for the 1960s. Yeah, oh, that's Lisa. Lisa's loving the 60s here. We got her photos coming up, you know, and that's when we first got the pleasure of Rankin Bass. I've seen these hundreds, if not thousands of times, and they never get old. You know, Santa Claus is coming to town, all of them. Oh God, I love these. Let's go to the next one. Boston store, this courtesy of Barbara Feldman Hamilton, and of course, you know, Barbara was descended from Mr. Feldman of the Boston store, family owned the Boston store, and they were so gracious to let us have these photos. If you missed my Boston store talk, we used these in our talk earlier this year. Next one. This is also from the Boston store. And just look at how glamorous Joliet looked. Next one. This one's my favorite. Look at all the automatons. We got little elves. We got reindeer. I bet their heads bobbed up and down. Those are cool. And let's go to the next one. Okay. I know you all remember this. Okay, some big changes were happening in our city about 1959 going into the 1960s. Strip malls had begun popping up on the west side starting in the mid-50s, then Hillcrest opened in 59. Both of these factors had a profound effect on the downtown shopping. Because the moms and dads weren't going downtown, they're going to Hillcrest and they're going to West Side Shopping Center. Yeah. And Mr. Feldman of the Boston store, quickly realized this is what's going to happen. And he set up a second location at Hillcrest. Let's see, some of the, like I said, the downtown retailers went over to Hillcrest as well. For the ribbon cutting, the governor was there for Hillcrest, as well as mayors from surrounding towns. Some of the stores included Boston Store, Goldblatt's, and Kruski's. Next photo. And notice that I've been showing a lot of Boston Store boxes, but this one says downtown and Hillcrest. So it's promoting both locations. Very important to keep them both going. Next one. And here we are again, downtown and Hillcrest. And our next one. And this is the Secret Santa gift shop. You could go in there and make a present for mom or dad. Yeah, or pick out things for mom and dad. Yeah, no adults allowed. Where's the no kids? Next one. Here we are again, downtown in Hillcrest, Boston store. And the next one, Kruski's at Christmas. And what is on sale? Nativity sets, just in time for Christmas. Okay, next. Bill Jacobs Family Christmas. And who remembers the jingle? Carl doesn't want to sing it, but I will. You can top our deals, a new hat if you can. Bill Jacobs, the Chevrolet man. Oh, come on. All right, ignore my bad singing. Carl and I sing it all the time. He got me singing it. And now he's got my kids. That and the theme for Mr. Ed. All right, next one. All right, the Charlie Children, 1963. And they're all in there except Kathy, because she wasn't born yet. And there's Mary Beth there. And then all her brothers. And she was the only girl for the longest of time until Kathy was born. Next one. Okay, we're back at Grandma X's house again. That was a treasure spot, let me tell you. And like I said earlier, I did an estate sale for Joel Heckmead's estate, and some of these dolls were in the sale that we did last summer. She bought these dolls, which I think was a common thing with some of the grandmas at the time. They bought them for themselves. Yeah, and I say, why not? I'm a doll collector. I still buy dolls. I don't care. And I play with them. And no one else is allowed to. Yeah, but they're all Ma'am Alexander dolls, and they're on the right. And then there's a Sweet Sue Sophisticate on the left. Next one. Okay, 'tis the reason for the season. And here we have a lady praying right around the corner here at St. Mary Carmelite. And next one. We've got the Lucky Kelly children who lived on Essington. Their daddy made them this playhouse and decorated it for them. Isn't that nice? Next one. Lorianne Linebacher sent this to me. This is Christmas, 1961 with her family. They got the sisters dressed alike. I bet a lot of you had to dress like your siblings. And she's got a pink toy cold spot refrigerator with a toy mixer on top. And then she's got a Penny, Play Pal. Penny was Patty's little sister next to her. And then there's a Coca-Cola, if you look on the right, next to the youngest girl, that's a Coca-Cola Santa Claus doll, and he's holding a tiny bottle of Coca-Cola. Next one. Hey, we're down to Lisa's corner. Lisa sent me so many great things. And these, this is St. Bernard School in Ridgewood. We got any Ridgewood folks here? Yeah, and St. Bernard's, I mean, what great children. And they really got the message, you know, giving instead of receiving. These kids at the beginning of Advent raised money and bought the sisters at St. Bernard's School a car. 1967 car. Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Because, you know, you grew up in Ridgewood, you know, that's not a rich area by any means, you know, and for those kids to do that, I just think that's fabulous. Let's go to our next one. Okay, so now everybody has the luxury of being off on the holidays, you know, our nurses, our doctors, our first responders, they all have to work. And here's some of Joliet's finest working on Christmas Day in the 60s. Next one. Oh, we have some VIPs. Lisa, stand up. Get your sister stand up. Okay, you see the tiny baby in the background? That's the baby back there. There's big sister Lisa. You're not. Were you bad, Lisa?
I was born yet.
Oh, you weren't born yet. Okay, you have an excuse. Okay.
And the photo, again, was created by Dr. Annis. It was.
Oh, the same man who took the Weber's photo.
It was
Yeah.
in their home on Jones Street.
Oh, I love it. Marquette Gardens. Yeah.
They were like, and they were nice. They're out of the phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
3 editions came later.
3 editions in the Mahalik family. Yeah, I love it. Okay, the next one. Okay, here's Richard Bud Colbert. And he had to work on Christmas that year, probably had to work many Christmases. He was answering emergency calls for Joliet Fire Department. And our next one. And here's the Borg family. You know, we used to have a Mayor Borg. And Kodo, maybe the pharmacy, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, and here they are. And that's the thing, at the Joliet newspapers, which of course they don't do anymore, and I wish they did. They had all these great society page photos. And it wasn't necessarily somebody that was like a Rockefeller, it was just people in town. And they'd be dressed up. And these were taken on Christmas Day, and they put them in the paper on Christmas Day. Next one. I got this from Ike Widner, and there's Ike with his siblings on Christmas. And the next one, I got this from Mark Mazak. He grew up over by Taft, and this is his family's Christmas in the 1960s. And the next one. All right, we got grandparents here. We got a lot of grandparents. This family, this is the Hirsch family, and they had 11 grandchildren at that time. Those are all 11. Yeah, and that Hirsch, Mr. and Mrs. Walter Hirsch lived at 301 Granite Street. And that'd be in the St. John's neighborhood. Next one. Oh, this is Mike Carlstrom. And Mike's mom is Barbara Feldman Hamilton. And Mike's grandpa owned the Boston store. And just look at his face. I mean, look at, he's just got his jaw wide open, looking at that Christmas window. He was 5 years old. I hope he doesn't get mad given his age then. I think this is from 67. But look at him, looking at all the wonder of those toys. Mike was here for my Boston store talk. Very, very helpful. I'm going to send him this. I love it. Next one. All right, Christmas greetings from the Honey Otis family. You remember shopping at Honey Otis's? Oh yeah. Yeah, big family. And what I like about the Honey Otis's, if you get talking, almost all the boys are named John. But they, yeah, and they all have different middle names, and that's how they distinguish them. Yeah. I like when kids are named after the family. It's nice. Next one. Lee Bars, you remember Lee Bars? Yeah. And here are the Brunetti brothers, Vince, John, and Emil. Wishing everyone Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Next one. Oh, another popular place, Melcher's Supper Club. Remember going there on Cass Street? And if you didn't want to go out to eat, you could still get gourmet food from Melcher's for Christmas and bring it home. Next. Oh, we're getting into the 70s. Yeah, this is my decade now. All right. Let's go to our next slide. These next photos are from a 1970s Al Baskin's men's catalog. And thus Santa is arriving in a convertible. He's stylish. He goes to Baskins. Yeah. All right. Next. Oh, look at these groovy clothes here. Very dapper dresser that man is. Next one. You could get sweaters. And on the top right, there's a golf club. So you could wear these sweaters, I guess, golfing in the fall or early spring. And get some slacks too. Next one. Oh, let's see. What do I have written down for this one? Oh, you could choose from a big selection of colors, models, and patterns that get expertly fitted by Baskin's own tailors. Next one. Holiday on the go. So you got some briefcases there. You got a variety of coats to wear to your moms or your mother-in-laws, wherever you were going that Christmas. And your driving gloves there too. Next. Turtlenecks. I bet some of you men wore turtlenecks in the 70s. They were popular. And then if you weren't wearing the turtleneck, you had the dress shirt, you needed to get the cufflinks and the belt. Next one. And we've got paisley and plaid robes, perfect for lounging around the house. And you know, you want to pretend you were Hugh Hefner, you can go to Baskins. Then you could get your Italian button-down casual shirt on the bottom right and pair it with your Izod shorts, walking shorts. Next one. And here's the back cover, and we have some employees there. Emmy Ostrom, Dorothy Code, B. Rusco, and Joan Stoner. And they're promoting the new boys store. As a side note, I'm trying to put together a History of Al Baskin's program here. If anybody's in touch with the Baskin family, please let me know. I've been trying to reach out to them. I would love to do something on Baskins. Next one. There's another picture from Virginia Gale. This is her family's home in the 70s. And we see several Ma'am Alexander dolls under the tree. I see poor Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland. And I think Scarlett O'Hara on the far left. Up next is my best friend Kathy Spieler with her brother Jim. They grew up on Caesar Street in the St. Pat's neighborhood. Kathy really wanted to be here today. She's been sick lately, and her mom, Bernie, is very sick. And I'm keeping them in my prayers this Christmas. Next one. Gaylords. Yeah. Here's an early insert from the 1970s, courtesy of the Joliet Herald. And the doorbusters included Topper's Johnny Lightning cars, Mattel's spin buggies, and the Dawn Dolls fashion stage. Next is Kenner's Smash Up Derby, Don't Be a Dumbbell game, and Live Action Pro Hockey by Marks. You have that one? Cool. Next one. And you could go camping, skating, you could lift weights, or just go hang out with Hasbro's G.I. Joe. Yeah. I mentioned earlier, there's my son Murphy. Oh, he's hiding now. Murphy collects G.I. Joe. He's in 8th grade now, so it's like action figures. I'm not really playing with them anymore. And anyway, G.I. Joe, my son grew up with vintage toys. I didn't like buying all the new stuff. So that's what he played with, and those are his Joes over there. Next is The Wonderful World of Barbie and Francie. Peggy Pen Pal, so you got the little doll writing at the desk. Snoopy, Ideals Chrissy and Velvet dolls that you could grow their hair by winding a knob on their back. You remember those, yeah. My sister had Chrissy and Velvet. My mom made all their clothes, and my sister would never let me touch them. Never. I got baby Chrissy. I don't know where she is now. Next one. We've got Arnold Palmer's indoor golf course, Matchbox Super Fast Race Set, and the Switcher Freight by Tyco. And next, here's the Gannon girls seeing Santa at Elfrest, 1970s. I'm like 3 in this maybe, and I was terrified of Santa. I mean, I just bawled and bawled. I remember going to this. I was just absolutely terrified. And there's my sister sucking up as usual. Next. All right, clients. Out of yesteryear and into tomorrow with Dottie Dazzler Separates by Bobby Brooks, which could be purchased at Many Girls and at Fehrenbacher's. I don't know why I put clients there. It's Fehrenbacher's. My bad. Next one. More Fehrenbacher's. Get casual car coats. Any lady here where have a casual car coat? Yeah. Okay, next. Groovy guys. We're swinging by L. Baskins to get jumpsuits for men. I guarantee you there's one man in here who had one of these. He won't admit it, but I know one of you had it. Yeah, look at that. What's up, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, next. I found this clipping the other day and I found it very touching. It's Pauline Farr, who grew up in Virginia but later moved to this area to be by her daughter, Mrs. William Salter of Shorewood. Pauline's father made her this dollhouse when she was 1 year old in the 1890s, and she still had it in the 1970s. Her great-grandchildren, Tracy and Ross Caswell, apparently loved it. Next, we got a Joliet East alum here. Yeah, Kingsman. There's Joliet East Kingsman. They're going caroling at a local nursing home, which obviously made some of these residents happy to hear and happy to have younger people visit them. Next, we got some junior high girls from St. Raymond's in 1976 admiring a tree. That's either Linda or Laura Berkey, the Plaker, and then one of the Palucci girls. I don't know if it's the dentist or it's the podiatrist. Next one, Mr. and Mrs. Maximiliano Maya. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. They're with their son Rodolfo. They're having a Christmas Eve dinner right after going to mass at their local parish. Next, we have a look at downtown Joliet in 1976. You notice the street decorations are a bit toned down by then. Signal things to come. Next, clients underwent a major remodel in the mid-1970s in the hopes of bringing more customers to downtown. This is what the store looked like in 1976. Next, here's an ad for their Sunday Spectacular with men's leisure suits. And leisure, that's hard to say. Leisure suit shirts and ladies' fur trim fashion coats. And next, clients. We've got Santa there, and this is just how hard it was for the downtown retailers at that time. They were open till midnight on a Tuesday, trying to get that last minute shopper into the door. They also had an appearance with Santa. Next, White Store and Landlubber jeans. I don't think I'd wear something that says Landlubber. $20 too. That seems like a lot of money in the 70s. You know? Next one, Fehrenbacher's, her Christmas store with fashions. Some of the names I recognize, like Pendleton with the Pendleton shirts. Jones in New York, that's still around, I think. Marissa Christina, I'm not familiar with. And you notice how they stress in bold letters, helpful, knowledgeable salespeople. Yeah. And then open daily, 9 to 9. They were trying to get people in that door. Next one. 1975, Jefferson Square Mall. You remember when Jefferson Square Mall opened? Yeah, it was a 600,000 square foot mall. It opened in March of 75, well within time for Christmas that year. Montgomery Ward's anchored the West End. Weebolt's anchored the East End. The Walgreens there had 19,200 square feet. You remember like going to the restaurant there? Yeah. Let's go to the next one. And then some of the clothing stores like Robert Hall. Yeah. Let's see. Carmel Corner. Yeah, let's go to the next one. And here's inside the mall. Pretty busy. Remember when they had the center part and they had the fountains there? There were 3 memorial fountains. The coins that were thrown in were collected for Easter Seal Drive, YMCA Building Fund, and in honor of attorney Gerald Gallowich, who helped spearhead getting the mall, but he died in a plane crash just before it opened. All right, and let's go to the next one. Here's inside the Jefferson malls again, and we've got Just Pants, the county seat, just drop your feet into the county seat. All right, I think I've got a page out of order, so you look at that for one moment. Forest. And all right, I'm gonna wing it. I don't see that page. All right, unless it's up here. Is that my page up here? Yeah. Okay. So that Game Place Arcade, Orange Bowl, Walden Books, Radio Shack, General Nutrition Center, Deb, Casual Corner, Park Lane Hosiery, and Circus World. I get the toys there, yeah. Speaking of Circus World, let's go to our next one. Oh wait, there's the Santa train. Remember the Santa train? They also had an Easter one there too. Yeah, I love going there. Next one. Okay, here's Circus World. Yeah, there's a Ronald McDonald doll there. Looks like they got some Star Wars toys. Next one. Yeah, there we are. I remember doing the Pepsi challenge right there, and I cheated. I watched her switch. She's like, how do you know? I just know the difference. Of course, today you can tell the difference between Pepsi and Coke. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted my free Pepsi. Next one. Oh boy. So just when we're getting used to downtown kind of slipping and Hillcrest slipping, Jefferson Mall's the new place, and now Jefferson Mall's having to compete with Louis Mall. Only a couple years later, was anyone in this room there the day Louis Mall opened? I was there. You were there. Oh my God. Was it crowded or what? Oh, I missed that. Shoot. I should have. I was 8 years old, and all I remember is just all these people. You couldn't move. You couldn't move like 2 inches to see anything because everybody was there. Yeah, it was jammed. What's the next photo? Oh, here we are. We're gonna come back to Louis Mall in a minute. These are some letters to Santa, 1975. Dear Santa, I'm a really good girl here. How do you get down the chimney? It's Karen Grace and Tom Anzalone. Next one. This is Dennis Wrong, I believe. And here he is talking to Sam about what he wants. Next. So Lisa Bear wants a baby doll for Christmas. Brian Holt wants an apple, a banana, and a racetrack for Christmas. You gotta admire that kid's style. He starts off simple. And he's like, oh yeah, and then I want that racetrack. You know, like, you may as well want his rider BB gun. Let's go to the next one. So this caught my eye. This is the Hennessy family of Crest Hill. And I believe I counted 13 children. Yeah, that's a lot of gifts for Santa to be bringing, a lot of stockings to fill. And yes, they got snowmen for each of the kids. Next, so back to Louis Mall. Here's our beloved Marshall Fields before it was sullied with the name Macy's. I love Marshall Fields. Oh, next one. So you remember when it had the restaurant, the country cupboard? That was upstairs. My sister waitress there for a while. It had good food.
Yes, they did.
It was pretty. Let's see, next one. Now you can still see this today. We got the staircase and the escalator at Marshall Fields, Macy's. Next one. And then here's inside Louis Joliet Mall, 1979. And then next one. You know, I was really hoping to get some pictures of Bergner's. You remember going to Bergner's before it became Carson's? And they had that great glass elevator. You know, you could like look at everything and then go down and go back up it again if you're like annoying brat like I was, up and down. And then they had the talking Christmas tree upstairs. You remember that? And somebody had to sit in that thing. You had to squat way down. And like one year, I'm gonna tell on myself. There was a girl I didn't like in high school. She was mean and she was snooty and she was working. I couldn't believe she had to get a job. She was always so snotty. And she was working as the Christmas tree. And she kept talking. I said, "Are you an annoying Christmas tree?" "Yes, you are." Just kept tormenting her. Oh, it's terrible. I was just as bad as her. Okay, so we were talking about Louis Mall opening, and when Louis opened, they bombarded the Herald News with ads. They just were really trying to get people into the mall in the late 70s and early 80s with their variety of stores. Next one. Oh yes, bejeweled and bedazzled over 60,000 ways at Louis Joliet Mall. Next, so just like Mr. Fellman, the Boston store, he opened up in Hillcrest. The Baskins opened up at Louis Mall, and they made sure they were anchored right outside of Marshall Fields. And here we are getting Woolrich coat. Next. Hillcrest still hanging on at this point. You could go to the pet center, get some shoes at Kinney's, and then visit Santa. Next, not long before it closed, the Boston store offered these stylish Joe Namath signature collection shirts by Arrow. Yeah, over the summer, I was working on a sale where they had a Joe Namath avocado green popcorn maker from us. You remember that popcorn on Magnolia. But really, we must have loved Joe Namath. There he is with his Arrow shirt. Yeah, digging that. What did he do? Was he doing what? Yeah, but what was the other commercial he did? Pantyhose. Did he do like shaving cream? Didn't he do one with Farrah Fawcett too? I could have sworn, like before Charlie's Angels. Okay, next one. Oh yeah. Yeah, here we are. We're moving on to a decade where maybe some of my coworkers were around or not quite. It's time to get totally 80s. Totally. Yes. I heard that. Let's go to the next one. All right, service merchandise. They're still hanging on. Service merchandise was where Boston's store was. And I remember going there about this time and they had Stretch Armstrong. You remember Stretch Armstrong? And they geared it toward boys. I wanted that thing. And your mom wouldn't get it along with the Easy Bake Oven. But Cause she said I'd burn the house down if I had the easy bake oven. My sister could have it, I couldn't. Anyway, service merchandise there, we got baby dolls, we got toys. Next one. Okay, so we got Santa, dueling Santas. Santa at Jefferson Square, Santa at Louis Mall. We have Michelle Torres with Jefferson Square Santa on the left. And Sarah Rosendahl with her coveted Cabbage Patch doll at Louis Mall. Do you remember people went insane? And yes, they did. They went insane over those Cabbage Patch dolls at the stores in the mid-80s. There were fights across the country, but there was even a fight at our own Toys R Us. Phyllis, I won't mention names. Yeah, Phyllis was there. Anyway, it got ugly, much like the Cabbage Patch. Next one. Oh, Milton Bradley at J.C. Penney's. But my favorite on the right, Shrinky Dinks. That was something I was allowed to put in the oven, but I couldn't have the easy bake oven. I don't get the logic in that. But let's go to the next one. Here's the Bobin home with Santa and his sleigh out in the yard. And next, we have the Oberg home. I think this is on Douglas. It's in the cathedral area, but I'm almost positive that's Douglas Street. And next, Van Buren Plaza, downtown Joliet, with the Frosty the Snowman. Next, we've got Mike Dobbs at Our Lady of Angels, presenting a sister with a homemade Christmas card. His mom was down the street from me, and that. Next one. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about 80s. You know, it wasn't all fun in video games. It was hard times for many families, mine included, and probably many of yours. Dave Fasaro of the Herald News penned this. Was the night before Christmas, right during the recession. And it's just talking about how people are hurting, you know. Let's go to the next one. Times got so bad for a while here in the early 80s that a group of retired Caterpillar employees used their own money to buy groceries for the laid off workers at Caterpillar. And there they are, they're packing bags of groceries. Next, we've got Roberto Ibarra teaching his children the importance of giving to others. They were packing bags of groceries for needy Hispanic families in Joliet. And next, look at the long line of parents waiting to get toys from the Peter Claver Center in the early 1980s. Now, it was tough. Next, we got a group of Cunningham grade school students decorating a tree. When I do this talk again next year, I will include photos from Taft. We got any Taft people here, Taft Tigers? Okay, Taft Tigers, the school honored school of Tupelo. I got a lot of great memories of Taft and the late Bill Ferguson. Did anybody know Bill Ferguson? Yeah, he was a wonderful man. I just adored him. And even though we were in public school, he was so into Christmas. We'd have huge Christmas pageants. And he would show Christmas movies. He would bring them into our classroom and show us old Christmas movies. He put them on the film projector. He loved Christmas. And, you know, I had Jan Hickman, Jan and her daughter Debbie. They had the beauty salon over at 4th and Richards, and Jan Hickman was my favorite teacher ever. And she was all about Christmas too. And Mrs. Carlson, who later taught at Dirksen, and we lost her to cancer. She was a wonderful woman. But I will have pictures of all of them, and I'm going to bring those next year. I don't want to end on a sad note. I think our downtown is undergoing such a great renaissance and resurgence. The mayor, Mayor Odekirk, and our city council have been working so hard to help support our downtown business owners. We got Diane back here from It's Amazing. You should go to her resale shop. She has wonderful women's clothes. I've never seen so many people coming downtown Joliet as I have in the last 7 or 8 months. You know, our police chief lives downtown Joliet. He has foot patrols now walking the beat so that we feel safer coming on Chicago Street, doing our shopping, over to the museum, going to the library, going to the many interesting little individual stores here. So, you know, we're coming back. Downtown is back. And it shows by all of you coming here today. I want to say God bless each and every one of you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And if you want to do a little quick Q&A, I'm up for it. I also have a photo here. One of our audience members brought us of Santa Claus. Who brought this one again? Yeah. Santa at the Boston store.